Let me ask you something. Have you ever wished that you could find somebody who understood you at your very core? Someone who could give you exactly what you need and that they'd enjoy giving it to you. Even better, that they would see you for who you truly are and value you for all of you, every positive and even the negative aspects, because you were exactly what they'd been searching for all their life. I know this may sound like a fairy tale to many of you, but it's not. Check this out. Research suggests that about 65% of young adults now have broken connections in childhood. Broken in the way that they believe in love or that other people will ever desire to know them or care about them. There are two common patterns of breaking. One's called anxious, the other's called avoidant, that are known as the most toxic pattern together because of the pain and chaos that they often bring. But in my clinical experience, first as a licensed marriage and family therapist, now my years testing and researching relationship patterns out in the field as a coach with my clients, I can confidently say that anxious and avoidant people, they each hold the pieces that the other one needs. And under certain conditions, they can help each other achieve true happiness. Now, how do I know all of this? Well, I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist. For those of you who've been on this channel for a long time, I'm so glad to see you again. Thank you for coming back. For all you tens of thousands of new subscribers who've just rolled in and the members who are now supporting this channel, thank you so much for being you. I am glad you're here and I'm honored to be able to teach you about healthier relationship patterns. Today, I'm going to show you how the anxious and the avoidant attachment styles are vital for healing each other and what is needed to bring them together into a truly fruitful bond. So if you're an anxious person or an avoidant person, hold tight and let's help you get the answers you need so that you can build a fulfilling relationship for the rest of your life and not have to lose the love of your life. Now, for those of you who are just catching up after the 65,000 subscriber mark, welcome. Very glad you're here. Here's a brief introduction on attachment theory just to catch you up to speed. What is attachment? Attachment's the way we as little kids connect to our caregivers to get our needs met. We learn if other people are going to care about us. We learn if other people are going to meet our needs or if people are going to turn on us. People are going to abandon us. People are going to fight amongst themselves. People are going to lean away from us when we need them to lean in. If people are going to act unreliable, we might blame ourselves or we might blame them. Okay? Anxious attachment style is when we blame ourselves. We get love and connection. We get this bonding hormone called oxytocin, and then it's pulled away, sometimes repeatedly. Our little baby brain at 1, 2, 3 years old says, hey, I'm doing something wrong. I don't know what it is, but this person keeps walking away from me. It must be something inside of me that I don't know what it is, but they see it. And every time they do, they get up and they leave. It makes me unlovable. I need to make sure everybody around me likes me, that they're all feeling good, so that nobody abandons me. I got to do nice things for other people. I have to earn my way through this world because I myself am completely unlovable. This is the anxious attachment style. It comes down to, I'll do 10 nice things for you. And maybe if you pity me enough, maybe you will meet my needs in return. Maybe you'll figure out the one thing I need, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to create that burden on you. I am nothing but a burden. No one will ever love me. If these thoughts I'm saying right now are resonating with you, chances are you may have the anxious attachment style. You probably have gone out giving, hoping to find somebody that's caring, gratitude, love, nurturing, all of that good stuff to give you in return, but you probably have felt taken advantage of numerous times. You probably have felt resentful. You're probably confused and you're despairing that you're ever really going to feel loved, right? Very common, unfortunately. About 20% of people have anxious attachment style now, okay? The avoidant attachment style. You probably have felt like other people are unreliable. This kind of varies between other people are just, they get stressed out and they're not reliable, so I can't count on them, to other people are horrible, and when they get stressed out, they are monsters, and they will take advantage of me at every opportunity, so I should never trust anybody. Now, the avoidant attachment style is lone wolf syndrome. This is, I am alone against the world. No one's going to care about me. I got to endure everything alone, so I have to stay free, mobile, and strong, so nobody can ever hold anything against me, ever. The avoidant attachment style, their biggest fear, although they wouldn't call it a fear, is getting trapped, getting stuck, having their mobility and their options stripped away, and being forced into an arbitrary sort of relationship. Maybe one where they're forced to coercively soothe somebody else to make other people feel good while getting nothing in return endlessly, and they're going to starve to death in their own relationships. It feels terrible to them. They hate it. The anxiously attached person, their worst fear is being found out and exposed as a fraud, as an unlovable person, and abandoned ultimately so that they die. In their brain, abandonment leads to death. So the chaotic dance between these two is, please don't ever leave me. I'm going to make you feel so good that you will give me warm, intimate, loving feelings all the time and soothe my worries. And the other side is, please don't smother me with your feelings. I need freedom. I need to be able to get up and move. I need to be able to escape. I don't trust anybody, and letting anybody in this deep scares the crap out of me. This is the anxious and avoidant dance, and this is exactly what creates the chaos between them. When the anxious person starts feeling needy and connected and sad and lonely, they reach out, and the avoidant person, in the first maybe 5-6 months of the relationship, they're happy to accommodate that because they're usually getting a flood of novelty dopamine, so they overwhelm the other person with care, nurturing, like, yeah, I got you, this is amazing, you're incredible, don't worry about it, you're wonderful. And they flood the anxious person with oxytocin, which is what the anxious person has always looked for their entire life. This is often called a process called love bombing. It can be intentional and manipulative, or it can be unintentional. The anxious person is getting oxytocin, but the avoidant person thinks they're just giving dopamine. They don't understand that oxytocin bonding process. They haven't received it. Their cortisol is blocking their oxytocin. Unfortunately, really, really common for this process to happen. This is why at 5 to 6 to 7 months, the avoidant person starts to lose the novelty dopamine and they get nothing. And it feels like this endless drain on their life that now all of a sudden they have to keep up the same appearances as before. And the anxious person starts sensing that difference. And they say, what did I do wrong? What went wrong? Why are you abandoning me? Not again. Oh God, not again. And they start chasing and craving and needing more soothing. They start pouring themselves in, trying to make the avoidant person feel good. And the avoidant person is like, something's not right here. I think you know what? I left something on in the other room. I gotta go check it out. No. I'm flying to Mexico for business. Yeah, that's it. And they try to, they start backing out. Even if they are trying in the relationship, they emotionally start withdrawing, and the anxious person feels it. Now they start chasing. Now the avoidant person has to run. They have to back off. Now there's fighting. Now there's arguing. There's resentment. Haven't I done X, Y, and Z for you? Yeah, but I've done X, Y, and Z for you, and blah, blah. Back and forth, okay? Things go wrong when it builds up and the tension builds up, okay? This is old information for most of you who've been watching my videos for a year or two now, but it might be brand new for some of you. So the anxious and avoidant dance is one of the worst, honestly, that's out there. It creates so much pain, so much hardship. And I'm not here to blame anybody. I know that most content creators, they get online, they learn a little bit about attachment theory. They don't go through 9 years of training and professional experience like I do. Then they don't go out in the field and work with people. They just kind of read a couple internet pieces about it. Maybe they've watched a couple of my videos. I've seen a bunch of copycats all of a sudden pop up, and they go out there and they teach a little bit about attachment theory. And then what they do is they side with the anxious person who feels wronged, and they absolutely scream at the avoidant people who are out there. You're scum, you're garbage, you're hurting people. You need to go to therapy. You need to go live on an island. Right? And the anxious people in the comments who've been hurt are like, yeah, I hate you. And they're all mad, and it creates this mob. No. We don't do that here on this channel. We also don't blame anxious people. Like, you're hurting, you're scared, you're lonely. Yes, it's very easy to look at someone with a lot of needs and say you're too much, but it's not about being too much. It's about not feeling loved. And that's a very big difference. So here's what's going to be new for all of you, all the people on this channel, how these two styles actually need each other in order to get better. Because you guys know that for years and years, I've been helping couples get better. You know that I've been working with this dynamic. This is the most common dynamic I actually see. The anxious person understands things that the avoidant person doesn't get, okay? The anxious person understands oxytocin bonding. They understand relaxing into that moment, feeling it, saturating in it, feeling loved. One thing that avoidant people do is they won't understand why you do nice things for them. They won't understand why you are caring for them. Why are you giving to them? Why are you wanting to touch them? Why are you wanting to be near them? They don't get it. Oxytocin creates a compulsive effect where you want to nurture a person or give to them or touch them or be near them. It creates a compulsive affection. Okay? Avoidant people don't understand that, and they haven't felt it, so they are suspicious of your intimacy and your love, but they also don't understand how good it feels to get oxytocin because they've blocked it. Their cortisol has blocked it. They also don't understand serotonin contentment, being able to relax into a moment and feel truly at peace with their life, truly content and satisfied in their life. They don't get it. Being needed can be a wonderful thing. And anxiously attached people understand this. Sometimes they carry it way too far with codependency. I need to be needed. But being needed can actually be quite wonderful. Finding purpose and fulfillment, even in caring for others and fulfilling them, and then really feeling that biochemical fulfillment through the oxytocin feedback loop. This is an incredible experience. And anxiously attached people understand it, but avoidant people don't. They also understand that approval from the right person under the right conditions can actually be a good thing. If you get approval from a good parent in childhood, it helps you grow as a child. If you get approval from a mentor, it helps you grow as an adult. Anxiously attached people understand that the approval from right people for the right reasons is actually a good thing. They also understand the power of kindness, because avoidant people, yes, they get kindness, but they don't understand how it feels to receive that kindness. Not really. Anxiously attached people do. They also understand how to relax and recharge 5 times faster with a loving partner instead of having to withdraw into a silent chamber of darkness and isolation and sit there like a vampire trying desperately to rekindle yourself. No, you can actually recharge much faster with a loving partner. Now, there's many things that an avoidant partner also understands that an anxious person does not. They understand, for example, that stress and pain are not really just bad, they're useful. Stress and pain can be useful things, driving factors, motivating factors, factors for change. You can harness stress and pain and ride them to victory. Anxiously attached people treat stress and pain like death itself. Avoidant people also understand the power of that dopamine cortisol pathway in limited amounts. Limited amounts. You guys have heard me talk about that before. Massive cortisol, feeding in dopamine, jumping back in. This is why they can do incredible, like 3-day sprints on work. They can get projects done. They are incredible leaders, incredible drivers. They do great things because of that dopamine cortisol pathway in limited amounts when they ride it correctly, riding the wave. They also understand that being independent is possible and that it can feel great. Anxiously attached people are petrified to be alone in a room because the bad thoughts start. And if they get scared or hurt, no one will be there to help them. Avoidantly attached people are happy in the woods with a knife and a stick. And they're like, all right, no one's here to bother me. Big difference. Avoidantly attached people also understand the power of boundaries. That's something that anxiously attached people usually only learn too late. Boundaries are just as much to filter in the right people as they are to push people out, but they allow you to stay sustainable within your life so you don't crash. Boundaries are incredibly important. It's also important for self-respect that way. Which is why how to endure hard times and respect yourself is another thing that avoidant people have to teach to anxious people. To endure and respect yourself, to endure hard times and respect you. Now, when you put these two things together and you force these people to have transparent conversations, take an anxious person and an avoidant person, smash them together, say, you will speak to each other for the first time, what can it look like? Well, I do this all the time in couples coaching. All the time. I see these first experiences between them and they're like, and you can see both of them are like, their eyelids are peeled back, their pupils are dilated. They're like, and they're terrified. The anxious person finally is honest about their needs. Well, says, well, you know what? I'm just going to be honest with you. This is what I need. Is that too much? Is that awful? Is that okay? This is what I need. And the avoidant person says, thank God, you're finally telling me what you need from me. Okay, what do you need? How often do you need it? Why is that important? Help me understand. Let's make it measurable and I can do it. Sharing needs, by the way, is not selfish. Hiding them is selfish, right? This is what the avoidant person will teach to an anxious person. Sharing your needs is mandatory. Hiding them will make me leave you. Pretty simple. Share a need, I like it. Hide it, I don't like it. There's your pathway for fulfillment. There's your pathway for approval. The anxious person can become a personal battery charger for the avoidant person, and they'll love doing so. Man, I'm having a terrible day. I'm so stressed out. I'm just buzzing. Well, wait, babe, come here. Come sit down with me. Hey, take a breath. Okay. Hey, why don't I get you I'll start a hot bath. And in response, why don't you just sit here? You know what? Here, lay your head on me. I'll stroke your hair. We'll watch your favorite show, right? We'll calm down. Spend 10 minutes. Hey, you know what? Let me hold on to you. Let's go stand out on the balcony. Let's go stand out there and talk. Let's breathe. Let's just rest for a moment. Why don't you take a bath? We'll talk. We'll feel good. We'll connect. We'll physically connect. I can cook something for you. What do you need? Let me take care of you. Suddenly, personal battery charger. Guys out there, avoidant guys out there, imagine if you came home to a wife who was your personal battery charger. You walk in, you go, man, it was a bad day. And she's like, hey, here. And she plugs herself into you and your battery goes zoop, way up and you go, wow, I feel so much better. That's the power of a loving woman in your life when you are able to receive her love. Now, she might be an anxious woman, and she's probably going to come in and go, I am so glad he lets me recharge him. Women tell me this. Anxiously attached women, when they start healing and becoming more secure with a partner, they're like, I am so happy that he lets me recharge him. He lets me build him so he's happier. He's fulfilled. It's so good. I have a purpose. They're thrilled. They are pumped. And the guy's like, yeah, my life has actually got pretty better. I didn't even know this was possible. This is incredible. This is what people say that women can bring. This is pretty cool, right? It's not just like, all right, quick on-demand sex. It's, hey, real love and intimacy that recharges you. The avoidant person finally gets to share context, to be understood, and to have that go well for them. The anxious person's like, thank you for sharing context with me. Thank you for helping me understand what you're thinking. Thank you for just explaining. I feel so safe. I feel so happy. It makes me feel good that you care enough to explain. The avoidant person's like, you're not going to use it against me? They're like, no, I'm just happy. And they're like, really? This is weird. The avoidant person starts to understand, I can open up with this person. They actually like it when I give them details. Why? I don't know. Feels weird, but they like it. And then you start to feel relaxed as you share details. Your stress level comes down. People don't realize the process of the power of external processing, talking a bit about your difficulties, right? They may not solve them, but processing them, the other person expressing care and worrying about you, maybe offering a solution, maybe just troubleshooting your solution, maybe just being present with you. It releases oxytocin and serotonin. And if you solve the problem together, vasopressin, which releases GABA, it's the oxytocin does, all of that flows and you feel so much better. When you open up and process, the other person also feels loved and connected. Okay. The avoidant person also learns that having needs does not make them weak. It makes them relatable and likable. Hey, you know what? I need a couple things. Is that okay? Yes. The anxious person no longer has to guess. Anxious partners live. They wait for a need to come up so they can fulfill it, because fulfilling needs makes them feel safe. The avoidant person can also help them understand fulfilling my needs does not actually make me stay around you. Being an honest, open, non-secretive person is what keeps me around you. And the anxious person can begin to transform as well. That their acts of service is not what makes them loved. They themselves, their character, their choices, their behaviors. This is what dictates who they are, and this is what makes them acceptable. It finally heals that wound the anxious person has on the inside that says, I'm not lovable. An avoidant person can show them that. Now, the avoidant person can become the rock for the anxious person to rely upon during times of stress, assuming the anxious person is doing their best to learn self-soothing as well and self-discipline with their emotions. Okay? You don't overwhelm the avoidant person, but you can rely upon them. Avoidant people are some of the best people to have around you in a crisis or a stress situation. Avoidant men who stay away from emotional intimacy will dive in with both feet when you get sick, typically, and will care for you like a nurse at your bedside. It's incredible. I've seen it time and again. They do very well during crises when people are stressed. So anxious people have a loving partner who will care for them during the hardest time. Now, the anxious person has to self-regulate just enough to not be dependent or smother the avoidant person. If you want to get to this special state where you're nurturing each other and filling each other's gaps, the anxious person has to start first. Okay. It must be the anxious person first. They have to self-regulate enough to not overwhelm or smother the avoidant person. The avoidant person also must begin to see even a hint of the value in emotional connection and to understand that missing brain chemistry. You guys have heard me talk about this a million times here on this channel. Again, go back and watch the video, The Biology of Avoidant Attachment Style. That will help explain some of that. But avoidant men must understand what they're missing, and anxious people must understand how they're smothering. Okay? Both then have to communicate in two languages. One is the precise risk-focused language of avoidant people, risk assessment language, and the other is the emotional language of the anxious person. They both have to understand how to communicate in both, clarify to each other, and have measurable, mutually understood relationship conversations. Once you do this, this creates a perpetual feedback loop of positive reinforcement for both. As they engage in more healthy behaviors, they instantly get rewarded with their deepest cravings, and they feel truly loved for the first time in their life. This builds sustainability for the avoidant partner and stability for the anxious partner, which is what they're both looking for. Now, you might be listening to this and say, how do I learn this method right now on the spot? Now, fortunately, I built a video course out of the program that I designed for couples. Okay. It's called How to Love an Avoidant Man. Click the description below for a link to get your copy. Yes, it's primarily aimed at anxiously attached partners and especially women. And yes, avoidantly attached men benefit tremendously from going through it. It's also the program that I run avoidant men through in my coaching program to explain their needs and help them bond properly. I took the couples coaching program that I usually run these guys through and put it into that course. Check out the course right now if you want a program to help you build this relationship. Now, why did I fixate on this so much for the past 10 years? Because anxious and avoidant dynamics can be an absolute headache, even a heartache if it goes badly. And it does so often go badly, you guys. An estimated 98% of dating relationships break up now, okay? But this dynamic can also create a paradise for you inside your relationship where all of your needs are met and where you're truly fulfilled in the first true love that you have ever known in your life. Because when you build secure attachment together, it changes everything you've ever known. I've seen this time and again in the couples that I work with. They're blown away by the end of it. They say, Adam, I never even imagined that there could be this much love in another human being. They look at each other. They're just smiling. They're pumped. They kiss. And I'm like, oh, on camera. Like, so if you want to get to that place, you need to make these changes now. Okay. Watch this video right now. Go take this video right now that you're watching. Watch it with somebody that you love or send it to them and get their opinion on if they want to build something like this with you. Would you like to build this intimate relationship with me where I can show you everything you've ever missed and then I can become that person that you want me to be? In a good way that isn't just collapsing into it, but it's fulfilling for both of us for life, sustainable and stable for life. You know what? Even better, shoot it to him and say, what if we could do this? What if? Would you be willing to learn about this if we could? Would you take a course with me? Right? It all begins by cracking that door open. Remember, guys, I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist. I'm here to help. Drop a comment below if you need any assistance, or you can reach out in my emails, support@adamlanesmith.com, to get assistance. I am here to help couples find deep love, and I know for a fact that anxious and avoidant people can truly love each other. So if you're out there in this dynamic, don't lose hope, just learn.